Hi there. I'm delighted to review a book which I have enjoyed ever since it was first published, and it's this book, Gentleman and Warrior, The Legend of W.E. Fairbairn, The Shanghai Years. And this was written by Pete Robbins and Nicholas Tyler. Now, I had known Pete for many, many years. He had been involved in Weichi Ryu Karate and then in various forms of shooting. And in fact, he wrote one of the very first articles on practical shotgun shooting for Fighting Arts magazine. And we met on numerous courses over the years, and it's not very well known, but Pete used to help out on the bodyguard courses, acting as a terrorist. We used to bring him in for the final exercise, and he was very, very skilled at applying stress and pressure on the guys as they tried to escort a VIP. So one of the things that Pete got really interested in was World War II combatives and the history, and he started researching the subject in very, very great detail, and this resulted in a collaboration with a Canadian colleague, Nick Tyler, to produce the book, which came out shortly after Pete tragically passed away at a relatively early age, which was a shock to us all. But the book is his enduring testament. So really, there's been a lot written about Fairbairn and Sykes over the years. There was a massive interest in World War II combatives a few years ago, and there was a lot of information exchanged. But this book is the definitive biography of Fairbairn, who I always term the father of CQB. Now, just to digress for a second on that, I made that assertion, and I've had to defend it a couple of times on various forums. And you know, people challenge it and say, "Oh, so and so was a wrestler, and he taught the Wahoo, Nebraska police back in 1900 and frozen to death or whatever." Or so and so was a point shooter, and he trained the Slovenian and Uncouth Highlanders in point shooting. Missing the point. That's not CQB. CQB is the integration of armed and unarmed. So Fairbairn taught unarmed combatives, he taught shooting, and he taught the knife, and he put it all together so you could seamlessly transition between the two, and he set up interactive training methods. So in my opinion, he is the father of CQB as a subject. The book covers his early life. In fact, there's a picture of the house that he grew up in. So deep was Pete's research. Then into the Royal Marines, where he went out to the Far East. It's got his service record reproduced. So again, enormous amount of detail. And then, of course, we come to Shanghai, where he joined the SMP, the Shanghai Municipal Police. And one of the things that the book does is paint a picture of the crime and the gangs and the gang leaders who were operating, and the amount of violence that was present in Shanghai. It really was the most dangerous city in the world at the time, and to be a police officer in that city was a dangerous occupation. So that's covered. And then chapter 3 is the Shanghai School of Shooting. Again, we look at the system. We have obviously Fairbairn's own book on the subject, Fairbairn and Sykes Together, Shooting to Live. But there's such a massive detail, diagrams and so on, the training syllabus, this kind of thing, and really demonstrating that the SMP really did train as state-of-the-art methods at that time, including things like body armour, moving target ranges, obstacle courses and this kind of thing. They had targets that actually fired back at the shooter by using blanks. So it was all designed to, as we know now, is to simulate reality as much as possible and put the shooters through a degree of stress. So it wasn't just the normal calm flat range training. Defendu, the unarmed combat system, comes next, and one of the nuggets in this is that they put on a demonstration, and the illustrious visitor was Jigoro Kano, the founder of judo. He paid a visit there, and Fairbairn met him. There's lots of material on the riot unit, which Fairbairn led, which really has led him to be known as the father of SWAT, as well as the father of CQB. He basically invented the concept of SWAT, and if you read the book, you can find very, very little to argue with that. That really it was a SWAT team in all but name. Another chapter covers the connection with the United States Marine Corps, who had a detachment in Shanghai, and this led to very, very collegiate interaction with some of the officers and with some of the SMP, particularly Fairbairn, and that's all detailed. The book is very well produced. It's the copy I've got, the hardback. Lots and lots and lots of photographs, very rare photographs of the setup in Shanghai and the training and so on. It was edited and put together by Paul Child, who was Pete's training partner and has carried on the good work. And one of the really nice things that was included is this bookmark, which I treasure. Now, the thing that makes the book exceptional is the amount of interviews with people who served over in Shanghai, mainly in the police, but in other capacities as well. And this really fleshes out the history and lends the credibility to the book, because it's all first-hand stuff. There is relatively little about Sykes. Sykes, to me, has always been the man of mystery, and maybe I think a reason for this is that there just isn't the information there. The documents don't exist, and this has led people to speculate about him being employed by the intelligence services and so on. There's no evidence for that at all. There's no material on his wartime service, what he did during World War One. We just don't know. I think it's a pity, and for me, the big mystery is where he got his skills, because by all accounts he was the equal of Fairbairn in both shooting and unarmed combatives. Maybe one was slightly better at one than the other. There's an argument about that, but we know where Fairbairn trained. He trained in the Chinese and the jiu-jitsu systems, and then pared it down to produce his own. We know that, and we know where he got his shooting from. But with Sykes, it's a mystery, which I don't think will ever be solved. If Pete Robbins couldn't solve it, I don't think anybody's going to. So the book covers the Shanghai years, and of course at the end Fairbairn retired from SNP, and together with Sykes they planned a peaceful retirement. That wasn't to be. World War II erupted. They came over to the UK and were involved in training the Special Duties Unit and the Commandos, which is a subject for the next book, which came out in 2017, and I will review in due course. The book has been reprinted, and I'll put a link to where you can get it. It's at a very, very decent price, the reprint. It's about half the original price. And when the book came out, I was besieged by friends overseas who wanted copies, and I put them in touch with CQB Publications, Paul Child. And it was a really sought after book. Fortunately, it's been reprinted. And it's I keep it in my safe. It's one of my treasured books, and I think really it should be in the library of every combatives enthusiast.